Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha is Parshat Kedoshim, arguably the most important Parsha in the entire Torah. How do I know? Two reasons. Number one, this is part of the oldest part of the written Torah, except for sections of biblical poetry. And it's known as H, as the Holiness Code. And in the Holiness Code, we have some of the most important statements of biblical ethics and law, and it serves as the basis, actually, of the Ten Commandments themselves. And it was probably written down at the beginning of the 8th century before the Common Era, before many of the other parts of the Torah was written down. The second thing is that Parshat Kedoshim is at the center of the Torah. And for not only our ancestors, but in moderns as well, holiness is in the center. The most important part is the center. And that's how I know that Parshat Kedoshim is the most important. And the Parsha begins by saying that we shall be holy because God is holy. Now, what does it mean? Holy is a word that we use an awful lot, isn't it? What does it mean? We have a glimpse of what the holiness of God is, but God is God. God is transcendent. God is eternal. God is all-powerful. You understand how God can be holy, but how can we even begin to approach, we who are flesh and blood, we who are mortals, how do we even approach the holiness of God? Well, the rest of the Parsha gives us specific acts to let us know how to behave in a life that is full of holiness. And the second commandment that the Torah gives has to do with our approach to the physical world. The Torah tells us that when we reap what we have sown, when we harvest what has grown, there are two things that we have to do. One is that we shall leave the payah, the corner of the fields, for the poor. It should remain unharvested. The amount of the corner is not said. It can be a tiny amount, it can be a large amount. Depends on the amount of yield of the land that year, on the general wealth of the farmer. Depends on a lot of different factors. How broad unemployment is, for example. But one of the things is you cannot harvest from the corner of the fields. The second thing is when you harvest and cut with one hand and catch the fallen grain with the other, whatever you miss and falls on the ground must remain for the poor. That's called leket. And these two mitzvot, out of the three of agricultural laws helping the poor, tell us something fundamental about holiness. And it teaches us how we're supposed to go through the world. These specific mitzvot of leaving part of that which you have grown for someone less fortunate teaches that you may think that everything you produce is yours. After all, you bought the seeds. You, with your sweat, made furrows in the ground. You planted the seeds. You brought water. You weeded, and you fought off locusts and bugs, and you had this grow, and now you're harvesting it. Shouldn't you get everything of what you have earned? No, the Torah says. The world is not yours to consume. L'Adonai ha'aretz umlo'ah. The earth is the Lord's in all of its fullness. It belongs to God. And if we go through the world thinking that we have the right to consume everything within our grasp, that clearly is not a holy life. And the first step in holiness is to learn how to think about people beyond ourselves, needs beyond our own, and our responsibility for the rest of the world and those who dwell in it. That is the beginning of holiness. I wish you Shabbat Shalom, Aziz and Shabbos, and I'll see you in Shul.